first tutorial. Yay! Anyways, what I'm going to teach you how to do is make a hat that looks like this. Not exactly this one. And the one I'm making right now is not going to have nose or whiskers. It's just going to have eyes. And it's going to be made with this lovely pink fleece that I have. You don't have to use fleece. Just kind of anything more like warm that would be good for like a hat. So you need that. You can use, I'm using buttons as eyes. You can also use felt. Felt works for pretty much anything. You could add nose and whiskers and everything on that you could also make with felt, or with pom-poms, or pipe cleaners, or pretty much anything that you can kind of find around the house. With this one, I used a little pom-pom as a nose, and I used pipe cleaners as whiskers, and yeah. So the first thing you need to do is you need to kind of make a template of the shape of your hat. So just measure your head and just add it like a couple inches onto it, because remember that you need to sew around it and everything. So I just kind of guessed for the size of this, and hopefully it's gonna work. I'm not really sure. So just cut out that. So now that you have these two, those are the outside of your hat. Now you need to do this again, but make this one bigger, like make it longer, because it's going to be the lining and it's going to be a band around the bottom. So you can kind of decide on how much of a band you want, so you can kind of make it like, I'm going to make it about this size, and I'm just going to cut it. So now that I have that cut, that's the lining. The first thing you want to do is sew the lining up, but make sure you leave a pretty big opening, like about that big, so that later you can turn it inside out. Make sure you do that, do not forget. So now you're gonna cut a shape for your ears. You can make them pointy, and you can make them the size you want. This is the size I'm doing, and I made them rounded at the top because I thought it would be cuter. It doesn't really matter. So you're gonna need, make sure it's on the fold, so you're cutting two, by the way. Make sure that you're always on the fold for this. And now cut out. Cut them out twice. So now you have the shape of your ears cut out. And you can just set them aside for now and sew your lining. So now that you've done that, you have this. Make sure that there's an opening. I don't want to stress that you need to actually know that there's an opening in it, because if you don't, you won't be able to turn it inside out later and it won't work the way you want it to. So make sure it's there, and make sure that you like backstitch it so your stitching doesn't all come out when you like stretch this at all. So the next thing you have to do is sew around the ears, just sew a pretty close to the edge, not too close to the edge. Go around and then just flip them inside out. So now that you've done that, make sure you trim off the threads at the end. Now, turn them inside out. If there's a point in your ear, you can use the edge of your scissors or a stitch ripper just to pop it up so that like it's pointy. So the next step, you need to fold this in half. This is like the outside fabric, not your lining fabric that you sewed together already. Obviously, because they aren't sewn together. So cut a triangle like that. So you do that to both pieces, so just place this one on top. So now that you have that, sew it together. So now that you've sewn that, just flip it like that. Now you put the ears on, so make sure that they're facing down. and make sure that they're right sides together, so the side that does not have this on it is supposed to be facing the ears, and this will be facing up, and same with on the other side. So pin that together and just sew around the side. So now that you turn it inside out, it should look like this. So it's already starting to look like a cat. Now what you need to do is you need to sew on the button eyes, like that. Just hand sew them on, and that would be when you add the nose and the whiskers and whatever else you wanted to add. Also, you could have added felt into the center of the ears. I forgot to tell you about that. You just hand sew that on before you sew the ear. So now that you've done that, you now have eyes on your cat. You can add a little bow on the ears if you want. It'd be really cute. Also, you can make a bow and put it on a safety pin so that you can take the bow off whenever you want it, and you can make different colored bows. That'd be really cute. So the next thing you need to do is you have your cat in your lining. So you stick this inside. And now you need to line up the seams at the sides and pin them together. You want to make sure that these are lined up, because otherwise when you sew it together you'll have a very uneven looking seam and it won't look very nice. Now just pin all the way around the outside and you sew across. So now that I've sewn that, I just took out the pins. Oh, I still have one in there. Oh, and another one. So now that you've done that, that hole that you left in the lining, you're gonna pull the hat through it. That's why you need to leave the hole, otherwise you're not going to be able to turn it back inside out. Right side out, sorry. Make sure you cut any little threads that are just kind of hanging around, because it makes it kind of look messy. So now you just tuck the lining in. And you have to hand sew the hole. Now push the lining all the way up to the top. Now, you make the band, so you kind of have to pin it so that it's even all the way around. And then you just sew right here all the way along, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. So this is the finished product. You can make it with any animal, so you could do maybe a mouse or a pig or a frog, or whatever the animal you want to do is. It could be cartoon characters, anything like that. You can also add on faces and stuff like that. I just wanted the eyes because then it just looks like it's the top of the animal's head.